Hey there guys, how's it going? It's Coach Dan at the Black Diamond Mixed Martial Arts Academy, and today I'm going to demonstrate some techniques, some basic techniques for self-defense and for anti-bullying. So I'm going to be paired up here with Brett, one of our assistant instructors, and Brett is going to work on gripping my shirt. So first we're going to work on grip defense. It's often very common if you're faced against somebody who wants to close a distance on you, pin you up against something. They don't necessarily know martial arts, but they just want to control you and try to manhandle you. They're going to try to get some kind of a grip on your cloth. They might grab for the collar, might grab for the middle of the shirt. So Brett, for the sake of demonstration here, is just going to grab onto my shirt. Almost like he could try to shake me, hold me up against the locker or something like that. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to take my hands and I'm going to pin his wrist into my chest, like so. So by doing this, right now his wrist is very straight and strong. Really, really hard for me to break this. I'm probably more likely to rip my shirt, and I wouldn't necessarily want to do that. Plus, if my shirt's not going to rip, I'm not going to get rid of this. So I need to break the angle of Brett's wrist. I'm going to grab onto his knuckles, and I'm going to hold his hand down tight to me. Now, as I backstep, I'm going to peel right underneath here at the meat of his pinky with my fingers. So I pin his wrist in, and now as I backstep with my right leg, I'm going to peel open. So I peel his hand off of my shirt, at which point I can either just walk away and go back to somewhere where I can be safe, or if he continues to aggress, I can defend myself further, but at least I get rid of that initial grip. So one more time, we'll go into a slightly more advanced variation. Brett's here. I break, and now as I backstep, I'm peeling from underneath. So I'm not just trying to pull straight down, push straight up. It's not going to work. A, I'm going to rip my shirt, or B, it's just not going to get rid of it. Break the angle of the wrist first. Grabbing underneath the flesh of the pinky, I step sideways, peel the hand off, and now in a good position, I can defend myself. Second variation, a little bit more advanced if I have to defend myself further. I'm here with Brett. He gets his grip again. This time, as I grab, I'm going to take my hand, instead of reaching over to the pinky, I'm going to reach over to the thumb. So I take my fingers on the same side where Brett's got his grip. I'm going to reach over the top, and I'm going to grab him right on the meat of the thumb there. As I do that, I'm going to take my other thumb, and I'm going to bring it on his knuckle. So I want to get I want to end up with both of my thumbs on the back of Brett's knuckles right here. He's got a grip on me. One, as I turn his wrist over, I get my second hand into position, at which point I can get rid of his grip, A, because his wrist is very crimped and uncomfortable. B, I'm supporting behind his knuckles here with my thumbs, using my pinkies almost and my whole hand to kind of fold and force that break in his wrist. And as I bring his hand closer to his elbow and I fold his thumb outward sideways, I'm able to break him down. At which point I can bring Brett all the way to the ground if I had to, control his fall, or go wherever I needed to go from there. So the first variation there was just peeling at the pinky and getting rid of the grip. The second variation was that actual wrist lock, being able to bring the opponent to the ground. Hey there, it's Coach Dan here at Black Diamond Mixed Martial Arts. We're going to go into our second self-defense technique here, and we're going to work against a hair grab. So if we're up against someone who's trying to, again, muscle us, trying to control us, and they don't necessarily understand martial arts, or they just really want to hurt us, it's very common. Get a grip on the head. All right, girls do this a lot, but guys do this too. If you look at a real self-defense situation, people are going to do whatever they can do to really beat somebody up. We want to be able to make sure we can nullify the threat as quickly as possible. So what's going to happen here, I'm facing Brett, and he's going to get his grip on the top of my head. He's going to grab a fistful of hair. I don't have that much of it, luckily, but he's going to grab as much as he can, to the point where if I just pulled away, he'd take out a bunch and I wouldn't like it, or I wouldn't be able to get away. So he grabs a fistful of hair. What I'm not going to do first and foremost is I'm not going to twist and try to run away, because I'm going to lose a lot of hair, or I'm going to get pulled straight down on my back. I need to make sure my stance is good. So as he gets his grip, I don't want to be upright, because if Brett pulls me forward, look, I'm going to get knocked off balance. When he gets his grip, I'm in a good stance, right? A nice low athletic stance, a little bend in my knee. My hands need to initially not push up on the hand, not push sideways. All that stuff is just going to hurt my head and probably not get rid of his grip. I'm going to cup my hands both on top of Brett's wrist here. Number one, that's going to protect my face if he's going to try to hurt me. And number two, that's going to control his wrist. So instead of me returning immediately with violence, which could end badly because he's got control of my head, but also I might not want to hurt him, I'm protecting myself, covering both of his knuckles and almost squeezing his hand onto the top of my head, almost like I'm trying to crush an orange on the top of my head, just try to juice an orange or something. So we're here, he's got his good grip, I can't shake free. 1, 2, protecting my face. I'm going to pull his knuckles down into my head, and I'm going to bow forward. So I'm bending more at the waist and a little bit at the legs here. and Brett is forced to bend down with me. If I wanted to, I could probably take him all the way to the ground, but by the time I get him to about here, by the time his elbow is at the level of his hip, I can push the hand out sideways through the hair and he's not going to take any out. And at which point I can push away, immediately get myself to safety, or if we have to deal with other things, we can deal with other things, but at least I've nullified that risk there without necessarily having to hurt my opponent if he's a bully or someone who's just trying to muscle me around. 1, 2, protecting my face. Squeezing the orange here. I make my back step. I drive the hand down. Once his elbow's about the level of his hip, I'll push his hand out sideways. And now I can be booking it and getting myself back to safety. The second hair pull defense that we're going to work on is if I'm not facing my opponent. So let's say I'm facing this way and Brett gets a grip on my head. This, as you can imagine, is even worse. I really, really, really don't want to deal with this. Because if I'm up straight, I can get pulled right back onto my back. Brett can start, hitting me from there. I'm more or less sort of helpless if I remain facing in this direction. At the same time, if I just turn to try to face my opponent, I'm going to get a lot of hair loss in that circumstance, and I might not even be able to make it all the way around if he's got a tight grip. So, what do I need to do? Same thing as we worked before. Good stance, so I don't get yanked off balance. I notice my hair is being grabbed. 1 and 2. I get that nice snug grip, almost like I'm trying to juice the orange. In this case, though, I don't bow forward. I'm going to spin under. So I'm going to pivot to face Brett as quickly as possible. And now his fingers are facing down. At this point, instead of going down, I'm going to come up. Once his elbow is at the level of his ear or higher, I'll push the hand out sideways. And that's just to release the grip, get myself to safety. Again, good stance, 1, 2, juice that orange. I turn the corner, lift, or if I had to, I could come into other situations, start working my takedowns to bring my opponent to the ground if I really felt like they were going to be a threat to me. So those are 2 basic hair pull defenses for martial arts self-defense circumstances.